Hello everybody, it's been a while since I last did a long format video. Almost 2 years. Um, I figured I would give you a little bit of a tour of the electronic setup since I've gotten a lot of new equipment to play with. So let's get started. So soldering iron is the same as it always has been. Hakko FX888D with a 1mm chisel tip on it. And I still have the box for it that I keep it in when I'm not using it at my desk. I've now got a hot air reflow station. I mean, the cheapest of the cheap, but it gets the job done for the little SMD work that I do. Over here we have a new 3D printer. I've had this for a year now. It's a Bambu Lab A1 with the AMS. And I've got the SuperTac cool plate on there. One of the best investments I've made for this printer is this build plate. I'll say that right off the bat. And no more crappy scope. We're looking at an Agilent / Keysight DSO-X 2004A. But I put hacked firmware on here. Thank you very much, EEV Blog Forum. And now this has every single software option available, MSO and everything. So if I can actually show you service about an oscilloscope, 200 megahertz, and all of the software options. So you can see that we've got 8 digital channels, 4 analog channels, and then I bought some genuine Keysight probes for it. Those are fantastic. Silicone wire, silicone here, so they are absolutely fantastic. Same power supply. I still use the heck out of it, and it's still very, very useful. And then a friend gave me this one. It needs a bit of a tune-up. The knobs are missing and the front panel's cracked, but it does work. And then I finally have a current clamp. So it's the cheap Handtech one, but it gets the job done. And it's really nice to have. We've got a wider range, an array of other probes, and then a drawer with all my Arduino stuff in it. We've got a bench multimeter now. HP 3468A. I've been using the heck out of this thing, and I'm actually considering upgrading because of how much I use it. This is a 6.5 digit, and I got it in a trade with a friend. So, and like I said, I'm using the heck out of it, so I very much love it. Variac. Same Variac as I've had for years. Just nice to have here on the desk. This is a motherboard for a computer that I have not gotten around to building yet. And I got my handheld multimeter there. And the thing that you're hearing, the big fan noise, a coworker of mine gave this whole Tektronix, let me zoom out for you, this whole Tektronix TM5006 rack to me. So we've got, these are just the modules that I have in here. I have more modules for it. We have a dual tracking power supply that does up to 20 volts negative, 20 volts positive, which is fantastic. I've never had a power supply that does both negative and positive voltages. We've got a DM501A multimeter. This is the best one of the bunch. I have 3 of them. This is the best one of the bunch. The cool part is that it can talk to the power supply internally. So that's the voltage that the positive rail, the power supply is putting out. Because of this button here, I can set it to the internal input, and now I can read the voltage. 80 megahertz analog oscilloscope. Now that I have the really, really nice digital scope, I don't see myself using this for much. but it is cool for visualizing waveforms and also playing around with XY mode for audio. Yeah, and they're saying there are things that an analog scope can do that like that scope can't do very well, like this rolling mode. We have a 3 megahertz function generator. This is the basic one, the most basic one that he gave me, and it's perfect for what I do. And then a universal count, DC503 universal counter. I've not figured out how to use this yet, so I look forward to learning. He gave me all the manuals for it, so just got to read the manuals and figure out how to use it. I have a microscope, and it's a very, very fancy one. Also, same friend that gave me the multimeter, gave me this. So this lens allows me to do S&D work with it, so very zoomed out, and then the rest of them are up close. So I can look at things. I'm looking at a blood sample there that I cut myself, and I decided, let's try to look at that. And that was fun to do. And it's got these giant 1/10,000th micrometer heads, which are awesome. It's so cool to move this thing around with that. And then it has a light. I have to replace the light, but it has a light that will go through the lens, so you can look at metallurgical stuff, and then it has the light in the bottom, so you can look at biological stuff, which is very, very cool. And you can switch between the two. Although I have to get a light for the bottom. I've been using a flashlight. Got my computer. Got just some random assortments of stuff. Handpiece that I got for free from Metcal. Soldering iron that I was going to do something with and then never did. Heat shrink, ring connectors and butt connectors and that type of thing. We've got some drawers. I'm still, these are still from my dorm at SSU. I just haven't gotten around to changing the labels on most of them yet. So this one's got solder wick and the tips for the hot air reflow station. The same guy who gave me the Tektronix rack gave me an absolute ton of resistors. So I've been sorting through those, and now I have this whole drawer of trim pots, which is fantastic, because you can really never have enough of those. And then he also gave me all of these, so we've got an array of some stuff here that aren't resistors, but most of these are carbon composition resistors. And then we've got parts for the 3D printer, some other kit parts, so some reed switches, diff sockets, connectors. We've got some C14 power connectors, some toggle switches, and that one isn't populated yet, and some extra filament for the 3D printer, heat shrink, more heat shrink. This is marine grade, that's standard. And then the last but not least, are the modules for the Tektronix racks. So we've got a, zoom in, FG504 40 megahertz function generator, which is awesome, and it does sweeps and all kinds of stuff. The one in the scope only goes up to 20. So this does double that, and it does sweeps and all that, and it does a couple other things that the one in the scope can't do. An 11 megahertz function generator, which is still very useful. It's very similar to the one that's in the rack right now. It's just that that one was only 3, and this one has a couple other trigger inputs and whatnot. And this one goes up to 11. And then 2 more of the DM501A multimeters. These need work on the switches. The switches aren't functioning as well as they should, so I need to work on those. And then another one of the dual rail power supplies. And then we've got the PC that I've gotten, another PC that I haven't gotten around to building yet. That's a 2070 Super. A friend gave that to me, and then the motherboard and an HDD friend gave me, or SSD my friend gave to me. And yeah, And then my desk is covered in all the resistors my coworker gave me, so I'm working on cleaning all those up and sorting through them. And then you've also got my component bins that are 3D printed. So we've got my whole array of resistors, although I'm going to have to print more of these now that I've got a bunch more values to deal with, which is awesome because you can really never have enough resistors for any kind of electronics work. Got so I got up to 1 ohm to 10 mega ohms here in various different sequences. And then I've got my ceramic capacitors, and what I did when I labeled these are done with AMS. I also put the code that's on them on the label so that they're easy to put back when I'm done with them and when I'm using them on a breadboard. And then I got my electrolytic capacitors, so as a microfarad, 100 microfarad. We got we got my two diodes, two most common diodes, so one N4007, very, very common, and one N4148. And then a couple different colors of LEDs, miscellaneous LEDs, Zener diodes, rectifier diodes, and then we come into transistors, voltage regulators, and MOSFETs. Yeah. And that about does it for the desk setup. I am unbelievably happy with the electronic setup. My electronics capabilities is very much expanded, and I am doing great with that. And that new oscilloscope, I'll make a video on that at some point. 100% worth what I paid for it. I think I bought it for $600 used on eBay. 100% worth it. Would highly recommend if you can pick one up for that price. It is like unbeatable, the amount of features that it has and everything that it can do. It's absolutely fantastic. All right, well, that does it. Catch you on the next one.